Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Crimson and in this video we are going to be starting our look through the Art of Doom Eternal art book. This is an art book that I have wanted for a very long time. I'm a big Doom fan. I am not an old school Doom fan. I started with Doom 2016, but I fell in love with it. Also, I thought I would bring him down to show you guys. I brought my little Doomslayer Nendoroid for moral support, so he has his super shotty, he has his blade on his wrist, he has his flame-mounted shoulder piece, and a little cacao demon on the back, just to kind of be his little emotional support pet. So yeah, I just thought I'd bring this down. I like bringing Nendoroids that I have into videos if I do actually have those Nendoroids. So, let's get started on this book. I have not read anything in this, by the way. I have been saving this to do with you guys. Doom Eternal. The Art of Doom Eternal. Here we have a great picture in grey of the Doomslayer's face. Speaking of which, I actually have a massive statue of the Doomslayer, which I will put up on screen now, somewhere around here-ish. He is massive to the point that even my other Sideshow and Prime 1 statues are absolutely tiny compared to him. But definitely worth the price, even though it was a lot. So we have our table of contents, which we will ignore. We don't want spoilers. Chapter 1 of Earth. Following the events on Mars that ended with a demonic outbreak are defeated and the Argent facility destroyed, the Doomslayer returns to an Earth under siege by even greater demon threats. Although the destruction of the Argent facility served as a bridge between worlds, new portals have emerged on Earth. And this time, Hell has sent its priests to oversee the invasion personally. As Hell's legions of war march on Earth, its foot soldiers are led into battle by lumbering titans, spoken of only in ancient, unholy lore. Facing an insurmountable opponent, the united armies of Earth are powerless against the forces of Hell, and helpless in the Rapture's wake. Facing a battle far greater than anything seen on Mars, the Doomslayer sets out to reunite with his scattered remnants of his fellow Night Sentinels and reclaim the relics of an ancient Sentinel technology, somewhere within the ruins of the fallen Sentinel kingdom. The Doomslayer sets out to reunite with the scattered remnants of his fellow Night Sentinels and reclaim the relics of ancient Sentinel technology, somewhere within the ruin. In the fallen Sentinel kingdom reside weapons forged in eons past, created to hold the line against the armies of Hell. Great little introduction there, really kind of sets the scene for the events of Doom Eternal. It was really cool. So here we have a couple of things. So first off, we have the Doomslayer over here. This is the Doomslayer as seen in Doom Eternal. And he is, I don't even need to say how massive this guy is. Everyone knows how massive this guy is. He's huge. His biceps are about twice the size of my head. And yeah, so this is him here. This is his face. I think they did a really good job of taking the pixelated face from the original Doom games and transforming it into a 3D model, because it really does look like the same person. Here's a picture of his helmet, this one from the side, and then this one from from the back and side and underneath at the same time, which is really cool, because we never really get to see the back of the Doomslayer's helmet or what it looks like underneath, so that is cool to see. So Doomslayer. After escaping his tomb found on the scorched rock of Kadingir Sanctum and successfully containing the demonic outbreak on the surface of Mars, the Slayer is once again cast into the void following his confrontation with the humanoid cyborg Samuel Hayden. As a new demonic threat erupts on Earth, the Slayer re-emerges, his iconic Praetor suit modified and upgraded for increased mobility and destructive capabilities. For the Slayer, it is a battle that has continued for an eternity. A battle that can only be won by confronting his past if he hopes to stop history from repeating itself. So yeah, again, I know it's not really a big deal, but I do like when games do this. It gives you like an in-game lore reason as to why his armor is different from game to game. So it's not just a case of, oh, the graphics are better, so his armor's cooler. It's actually like, no, he has a much more heavy-duty suit this time because the invasion is on a much greater scale than it was on Mars. So that's cool to see. Here we have another picture of the Doomslayer. We can kind of see his head in the background here. I don't know what this type of photograph is called, but I really like it. It almost looks like his armor is made out of clay, like someone sculpted it and then used it for this picture. I'm guessing that's probably not the case, but that's just what it looks like. Either way though, it looks awesome. So here is some more pictures of the Doomslayer. He has his wrist blade extended. I do apologize. I know that there is a name for the blade on his wrist. I just don't know it off the top of my head right now. So here's some more concept art of the Slayer, this time without his helmet on. We can see that there's different variations. Some of them he has, in all of them, he has his biceps exposed. This one in the middle I think is really cool because he has almost like a shoulder piece here that's meant to protect against enemy attacks hitting his neck, which is cool because that's what a lot of medieval knights and stuff, they would have similar things like that on their armor. It's cool that they included this picture. I almost wish that this made it into the full game, but I think the version we got of the Doomslayer in Eternal is really good. Okay, next up, we have the Sentinel King. The Sentinel King has ruled over Sentinel Prime for many years as its warrior patriarch, ordained protector of the sovereign Sentinel worlds. The Sentinel people, defined by a legacy of war, deem only those of the warrior caste fit to rule. It is expected that the king should lead from the battlefield rather than from the safety of the throne. As it is written in Sentinel law, a king unfit for battle is likewise unfit to rule. For millennia, the Sentinel people have secured their civilization against the threat of invasion from beast and human alike, passing the mantle of battle to each subsequent generation and refining the craft of war into an art of ultimate mastery. Even in times of peace, the Night Sentinels remain vigilant, developing new technologies of conquest to secure the dominion across the sovereign worlds. So this is obviously the king here. We can see he is an absolute massive man. There's some concept art of him here in slightly different attire. I like the way he looks in this picture. The cloak on his back just makes him look even larger and even more intimidating. And yeah, he definitely embodies what you would think of when you think of a warrior king. He almost looks very Nordic in his appearance, both in his physical appearance and in his armor. Also, I should probably just say now, what I'm going to be doing is I am going to be reading the text on a page and then discussing the artwork on the page. Just so you guys know kind of what order I'm going in. So here is the Knight Sentinels. So the Knight Sentinels are the most elite fighting force of the Sentinel military. Specialists in demon slaying, the Knight Sentinels are renowned for their fearlessness and skill in combat. Hand-selected at an early age, potential Knight Sentinels are subjected to brutal rites of passage and a lifetime of constant and strenuous training. They are molded into warriors, born to fulfill their sole purpose as unrelenting guardians of the Sentinel world. So this is some pictures and concept art of them, and they look really cool. This guy here looks so cool. I really like his helmet. It actually kind of reminds me of something out of Skyrim. I know it looks nothing like a Skyrim helmet, but I don't know why. It makes me think of Skyrim. And his armor is very reminiscent of that of the Slayer's armor. Just similar kind of designs and decals and stuff, like this little red piece here on his breastplate. Over here we have some more pictures of, this time this is a Sentinel with no helmet on. And then down here we have some more examples of some different Sentinels with their helmets. All of them are really cool. Most of them have some kind of spikes or horns on them, all to varying degrees. Out of these ones, my personal favorite is this one right in the middle, with the two horns kind of wrapping around the side and then also sticking up directly on top of his head. I think that looks so cool. So this helmet and this guy, sorry, the glare is literally right in his face, and this guy is, are my favorite concept art for the guys here. Okay, so Sentinel Survivor. After years of prolonged war against the threat of demonic invasion, Argent Deneur launched an offensive strike across dimensions, sending their greatest warriors into the heart of hell itself. Despite their training and preparedness, the Knight Sentinels were caught off guard in enemy territory. Betrayal at the highest level of command left Argent Deneur's bravest warriors cut off and abandoned in the hellscape. Those who survived were scattered across the hellish world, left behind with no means to escape. Okay, Chapter 2, From Hell. As the forces of chaos made their descent on Earth, a dark plan began to reveal itself, uncovering the guiding hand behind the work in Hell's assault. With the connection to the Argent Breach severed, Hell's allegiance turns its sight to Earth, a planet abundant with human souls, the single resource for which Hell has an insatiable need. As the armies of the undead appeared on Earth, they did so under the command of the Hell Priests, dark viceroys that have long sworn off any semblance of devotion to humanity. Atop temple-crowned titans, the priests ravaged a helpless Earth, laying waste to its defenseless and enslaving its people. In doing so, the priests would fulfill their black covenant. For Hell was not alone in its conquest of Earth. The silent makers, arbiters across countless dimensions, shared a pact with Hell, a calculated risk and a mutually fortuitous arrangement for which each would serve as the bargaining chip. So this image here is a callback to the original art, or the box art of the original Doom, and I believe this was used as some form of marketing material. I don't think this was on any of the actual game covers, but it was definitely in some trailers and stuff. It looks really cool. So we have the Doomslayer being surrounded by a horde of different demon types, but more importantly, he is kicking a Marauder with both feet. So that Marauder is done for, and you can see some more of the demons are flying in behind him. So, and there's a couple Hell Priests here. this picture is actually really good because it kind of showcases all of, or not all of, but most of the types of enemies we will be fighting in Doom Eternal. Okay, first up is the soldiers. So I think this is our first actual enemy type. So soldiers, once the frontline infantry fighting to protect Earth from the demon invasion, the Hell soldiers have been claimed by darkness and turned against their fellow soldiers in the midst of battle. So this is them here. So as it said, these were soldiers of Earth from one of many of Earth's armies who has fallen to demonic possession and now serves the demons and acts as their thrall. So we can see here that there's concept art of many different types of them. I do prefer the more human looking soldier compared to some of these designs. These designs are really great, but ones like this guy and this guy here just hammer home that this used to be a human rather than someone who transformed into a demon. They're still a human, but they're just completely taken over by demonic forces. Some of these enemies also have energy shields, which make it so we cannot attack from the front, which make them kind of a pain to deal with, especially on Nightmare. Next up is the zombie. Possessed by the influences of Hell, these once human underlings in Hell's ranks are those that have been corrupted and deceived by its power, forsaking their own humanity. Those who have been fully succumbed to Hell's control cannot be saved. Also, I should just add, for the anecdotes that I'm making about each type of demon, I have only played Doom Eternal on Nightmare, and same goes for Doom 2016. So, my opinion and experience with each type of enemy is based on that difficulty. So, no real description here for this guy. This guy looks like what happened to the soldiers, but this guy does not look like a soldier. He looks more like a scientist type, but same kind of deal. He has been taken over and possessed by demonic forces. Here's some more concept art of what I'm assuming is supposed to be this guy here, and how he kind of transforms from a human-looking appearance down to this demonic skeleton type. There's even a pentagram carved into his skull, which is crazy. So these guys are called explosive zombies. I'm guessing they're called explosive zombies because they have fuel canisters lodged in. So you can see that they have these things poking out of them, and you just shoot them and they blow up. Here's some concept art of them. These guys up here, particularly this one, but all three of them do, but this one in particular, look a lot like the Flood Carrier forms from the Halo games. Maybe that's just because I'm a massive Halo fan, but yeah, that's all I see when I look at them, but these guys are pretty cool. The Pain Elemental. So, an abhorrent creation of the umbral planes, the Pain Elemental is descended from the primal, abominable depths of the demon world. Knowing only its own torment, the Elemental is cursed to forge lost souls within the fiery pit of its gut, a process that is excruciating and without end for the duration of the creature's miserable life. The Elemental's only reprieve from its own agonies and torturous existence is the projection of suffering into the world. For this reason, the Pain Elemental reaps great satisfaction from killing indiscriminately, destroying its environment and inflicting misery onto the innocent. So yeah, this is them. A bunch of different angles on them. Two things that are fun about these guys is one, their glory kill. for this is like you would jump on him, you grab one of his horns, and you plunge your wrist blade into his eye, which is so brutal. They're also one of the enemies that if you have the grenade launcher attachment upgrade for your assault rifle, you can shoot a grenade launcher a grenade into its mouth, of which it then swallows it and then explodes. There's actually a diagram of that process here. So we start with our Doomslayer firing his grenade, it entering his mouth more, and then boom, he explodes from the inside. So cool, and for that reason alone, he's one of my favorite enemies in the game. Next up, we have the Arachnotron. So Arachnotrons are built with genetic materials recovered from the remains of the organic spider mastermind, then fused with deadly machinery. While its actual body exhibits limited mobility, the oddly cerebral quality of the Arachnotron make it a prime candidate for the impulse-controlled prosthetic frame that it now permanently inhabits. The UAC facility responsible for the Arachnotron's creation, intended to engineer and weaponize demons of its own design, was overrun after the outbreak occurred at its assembly plant, killing everyone inside. The facility, still operating under the directive of the administrative AI, continues to manufacture Arachnotrons autonomously. So this is them here. If you've played Doom Eternal, you are definitely familiar with these guys. What is really cool about these guys, or a cool way to defeat them at least, is that if you have the sniper upgrade for the assault rifle, you can snipe their turret here, and that blows it off of them, which drastically decreases their offensive capability. They're still able to do damage if you get close, but they can no longer shoot you from across the map or deal nearly as much damage. So this is a picture of full color, whereas these ones are different angles of the Arachnotron in black and white. Next up is the Archvile. Forged from Hellfire, the Archvile is feared among lesser demons for its innate ability to channel and manipulate the unholy powers of hell magic. Descendant from the eldest race of demons, the Archvile has long held a place within the ruling class of highborn demon lords, possessing superior intellect among the demon ranks. The Archvile's psychomancy powers make it a natural-born ruler of the savage and primitive beasts of hell, capable of bending weak-minded underlings to serve its will. So this guy is so cool, and that description for him makes him sound really cool. So far, that's the best description for any enemy in the game. So as you can see here, he has these like flaming hands, and his body looks almost mechanical. I know it's not, it's probably just white bone, but I think the kind of mechanical look to him just gives him a very cool look. Here we have some different concept art for him. What I find really interesting for this concept art in particular is this guy on the top right. So whereas here his hands up to his wrists are on fire, here he has these kind of fire blades coming out of his wrists, which are really cool. That's a really cool idea. It's almost like the demon's version of the Doomslayer's blade, but at the end of the day, I'm glad they went with this one, or this design choice, because he looks perfect to me. Maybe I'm being a little bit too nice to creatures of hell in this book. I apologize to any non-demons of hell. So next up is the Carcass. So a product of human biomechanical engineering. The Carcass was created in the remote labs of the cultist enclave. Neither truly living nor dead, it exists in a state of partial reanimation, its cybernetic armature simulating a living impulse with a decaying organic host. Devised as a means for extending a soldier's usefulness in combat after death, the unliving can only be destroyed by severing its body from the cybernetic implants. So yeah, this is essentially a dead body that they hooked up to a mech and have it continue to fight. Really terrifying concept, and the guy himself looks terrifying too. The tripod design that he has looks really interesting, which I just find so cool. Next up, we have the Mancubus. So, Mancubus. The Mancubus, a hulking behemoth of the demon world, is notably different from those of its kind. First encountered by the UAC expedition team on Mars, unlike its brethren, which had a naturally occurring armored carapace, this variation shows clear signs of man-made modification. Armor plating augmentation to its own exterior, and a sophisticated arm-mounted weapon system indicate a clear attempt to upgrade and weaponize the fighting capability of the Mancubus, whose heavy stature and resilience make it a formidable threat in battle. Very true. So these guys are huge, and they come in in multiple different forms that you can find them in game. Some of them are like these guys on top with very little armor, but still be 2 cannons, while others are like this guy in full armor, and in his full armor he looks so intimidating. And these guys are also massive. I wish that they had a picture with each demon entry to kind of show how tall they are compared to an average human. And if they did, you would see just how big this guy actually is, but he is massive. And then here we have some more pictures of the Mancubus in that same kind of very high detail clay style. Next up, we have the Whiplash. So, a scavenger of the hellscape. The Whiplash creature was first discovered by the UAC expedition teams in the Black Desert of the Sanctum Wasteland. These elusive serpentine demons move with speed and agility, capable of striking from a distance with retractable blade whips concealed within their forearms. This particular demon breed became an object of interest to the UAC engineers on Earth, but attempts to capture live specimens of this nimble and unpredictable creature proved to be exceptionally dangerous. After successfully acquiring one specimen, researchers implanted it with cybernetic augmentations designed to enhance the Whiplash's innate strength and lethality. Man, the UAC needs to stop giving demons, literal demons, cybernetic implants. Who is okay with this? Who at the UAC is approving this? But this demon is so cool. I like everything about him. I like his serpentine appearance. I like his horns on the top of his head. I like the what appears to be like a spinal cord kind of whip-like appendage coming out of the middle of his hands, which then has a claw on the end of them. So cool. However, when you are playing Doom Eternal, these guys are so annoying. They slither around so fast, that they move so quickly, they're so thin, they're hard to shoot, and they deal massive damage. So yeah, I have a kind of love-hate relationship with the Whiplash. Here is another picture of the Whiplash here in much more detail. I'll move the picture so you can see that. And here we have a bunch of different concept art for the Whiplash. This might be the most varied concept art that we've seen in the book so far, because all of them look so different from one another. They almost don't even look like the Whiplash. If it wasn't in this section, I wouldn't even think these are Whiplashes, but it does confirm it down here. So we have this one with like, these ones up here have tentacles. This one here doesn't have any arms, but has tentacles coming out of its back. This one has tentacles and legs and what looks like wings. This one, I don't even know how to describe this one. This one has two like massive arms that it uses as legs, and then has a kind of tentacle tail spike fusion thing. This one here to me looks like a necromorph from Dead Space. I don't know if that's just me or not. This one here looks like, or is the tamest of them, with no tentacles in sight, but it looks like it has wings. So maybe the wings are underneath, oh sorry, the tentacles are underneath these wing thingies. And then there's this one. This one is my favorite. So this one is on all fours, with the tentacles sprouting out of its back. This looks very similar to something you might see in Bloodborne. So I think that's probably why I like him. But this one and this one are my two favorite concept arts. But honestly, after looking at all these, I am so glad that they went with this design, because these are all great, but the one they went with is perfection. Next up is the Revenant. So the Revenant program, a bioweapon experiment utilizing reanimated necrotic human tissue, was believed to have been destroyed with the collapse of the UAC facility on Mars. However, the newly emerged cultist enclaves on Earth, former UAC divisions, now under Hela's direct control, have begun work on a second wave of production of the Revenant program. The cyberneural programming has undergone modifications. Patterns signals which simulate a state of frenzied, unrestrained bloodlust are wired to the host's frontal cortex. While these signals are active, the host is incapable of thinking or feeling anything, but a singular compulsion to inflict death and violence on the living. So this is one of the main demons of Doom. This is kind of like the poster boy demon for the Doom series, or for the newer Dooms anyway. So here is a really great picture of him close up, so we can see his face, how he's essentially a corpse. So like they said that he is made from necrotic human tissue. And here is another one of these highly detailed, what looks like sculptures. And you can see the two of his jetpack and rocket launcher things. So I mean, these are his rocket launching weapons. Whereas down here, we can see on the back of his chest piece is where he gets his jetpack or jump boost pack, or whatever you would like to call it, from. So these guys are so fun to fight. They are fairly weak to damage, but they dish out so much damage. They are quite dangerous. Next up, we have the Gargoyle. So, like its imp cousin, the Gargoyle is an agile, relentless pack hunter. Native to the Sentinel world, this beast has plagued the Sentinel Guard for centuries. As one of the few demon breeds that could bypass the wall defenses of the Sentinel Prime, and the Gargoyle could appear without warning and claim hapless townspeople before disappearing into the wasteland. Only the most skilled marksmen of the Night Sentinels could intercept this aerial threat, a peril which necessitates an ever-vigilant watch over the city's perimeter. So yeah, these guys are flying type enemies. There's some more pictures of them here, just kind of showing some of the different designs. This design here is so cool. He has this kind of like helmet with horns on. There's something funny about a demon wearing a horned helmet, but that's just me. But what's cool about this picture is that he's also wielding a shield, and a spear. So it's a demon that's seemingly using human weaponry instead of just his own claws and teeth. Very cool concept, and yeah, I wish that kind of made it into the game. But this is the final design here, which is really cool. I don't know about you guys, and I know this is the second time I've said this in this video, but this guy to me looks like a necromorph from Dead Space, specifically a slasher with the long legs with the claws on the feet, the skull head with the kind of two protruding fangs coming out of where the jaw was, and then the like two kind of spear like appendages where the arms should be, and they are bent backwards. If you took away the wings and then showed me this image and said like this is from Dead Space, I would absolutely believe you. But yeah, really cool design, and this guy here I really like. I hope we get an enemy like this in Doom: The Dark Ages. It would be cool fighting demons who use actual weaponry. Here is some more pictures of him. So again, this is the sculpted version here. Oh, okay, so it actually says, and it's probably said this the entire time, this is a extremely detailed render that they have just done, I'm assuming in like Blender or something. So it is not clay like I thought, it is a render. I do apologize. It has probably said that under every single photo of them, and I just completely did not see it. Here's another picture of him. This one he looks a lot more demonic and stuff. Does not look like a necromorph in this picture, so it must have just been a picture of him on his bad side. So yeah, his wings are quite small and very emaciated looking compared to this guy's wings. This guy's wings are massive, so maybe it's just kind of evolution or something. I don't know. Next up is the Gladiator. So the Gladiator, in the years following the end of the Golden Age, competing factions of Argent D'Nur turned against one another. An insidious influence had infiltrated the Sentinel people. In violation of Sentinel law, the priests have encaged a demon there, a merciless executioner that enacts judgment of its own decree. The Gladiator, wielding an accursed shield which entombs the tormented soul of its undying master, remains undefeated in battle, infamous for the many lives it has been, or it has claimed. So this is him here. It looks like he's actually wearing an eye patch, which is kind of funny. But he has this really cool looking mace that kind of resembles a skull, and also has a massive skull on his great shield. Really cool enemy type. This concept art here is really cool because you can see some of the different designs of what could have been on his shield. So here we have the skull, which is very similar to what we got. Here is just kind of a circle. This one looks a lot more futuristic, and I believe his armor looks more futuristic in this one too. But here is a smaller type skull. This is definitely a human skull. Here is a human's torso with the spine sticking out. So the arms of the human are pulled through two holes at the top of the shield, putting him in like a Y position. Then here we just have another shield design, and here we have what looks like to be a gaping mouth with or some kind of mouth with teeth, and then inside is an eye. So very, very cool design. And yeah, I really like these personally. I like this design for the shield. It looks so, to me anyway, I think this is so much more intimidating. Like killing a guy, stringing him up on your shield, and then bringing him into the next fight. That would terrify me if this guy was my opponent. Anyway, moving on. So, next up on our list is the Doom Hunter. So, an ancient race of beast-like hunters The Doom Hunter was known to the Sentinel Warrior as a lethal stalker of the Metal Age, extracted from the frozen depths of the polar tundra. The Doom Hunter was uncovered during cultist excavations in the remote Arctic. Though preserved below the frozen ice for millions of years, the unearthed remains of this creature were deemed suitable for reconstruction, becoming the subject of cultist necrogenerative bioexperimentation within the remote cultist citadel, a high-tech ritual altar which towers over the Golgothon ruins. The Doom Hunter was ceremoniously and systematically resurrected and rebuilt. While the majority of its components are now cybernetic, it remains a high degree of mental faculty, a sentient, brutal hunting instinct augmented with the armaments of a tank division. So this demon here is, like it says here, is more, So this demon here, the Doom Hunter, is almost more cyborg than demon. I know we've seen a couple demons so far that have cybernetic aspects, but this guy is almost entirely mechanical, with having tank treads and everything. To me, and this is just my opinion, this picture here, he looks like an armored core. I don't know if you guys see that too, but that's just what I see with the tank treads and the minigun in one hand and a melee weapon in the other. This looks like something you can make an armored core, and also with another missile launcher on his back. If you replaced the skull head with a kind of robot mech head, he would look like something out of Armored Core. Because in Armored Core, you can make your core have tank treads for legs, which is super, super cool. Here's some more concept art of him. So this one here, he has wheels for mobility instead of treads. And this one, he appears to be hovering. I think this one is a lot more menacing, though. Both of these look really cool and very futuristic, but this guy here is gritty enough that he looks quite scary. And trust me, these guys are a pain to deal with. So here is some 3D renders of them. This guy is having the hovering technology built in instead of the treads. So yeah, I do like how they have, or how many weapons this guy has. So he has his minigun and his kind of spiked club, and then on his backs, he has seemingly what looks like a railgun, or maybe a long-range sniper rifle, with a dual missile pod launcher. So yeah, just looking at this guy makes me want to go back and replay some of the old Armored Core games. Okay, the Dread Knight. A variation of the Hell Knight breed, the Dread Knight has been modified and hardwired for aggression, armed with an explosive Dread Knight. A variation of the Hell Knight breed, the Dread Knight has been modified and hardwired for aggression. Armed with an exoprosthesis powering energy blade augments, the Dread Knight is a lethal result of UAC cultist engineering. Epinephrine regulators modulate the Dread Knight with an unknown flow of rage-addled adrenaline, while its endorphins receptors have been synchronized to respond to the use of its arm-mounted blades. With each kill, the Dread Knight is injected with a flood of artificial dopamine as a result of its augmentation. The Dread Knight is driven by a biochemically engineered state of pure, unbroken rage, while suffering for which respite can only be found in the act of the kill. So this is actually kind of sad. So essentially this guy is constantly in pain and suffering all the time. However, due to his augmentations, he gets a flood of adrenaline and endorphins whenever he kills. So the only way to make him feel good or to make him be out of pain is for him to kill. So that essentially means he'll kill anything and anything. Anything and anyone just to feel better. So we have a couple different concept arts of him here. So this is him in a much more mechanical state. You can see he has cybernetic arms, he has some cybernetic thing on his waist, some metal pieces in his thighs and legs, and his knees, and some kind of I don't know whether that is a metal half helmet or they replaced the top part of his head. He also has these two protruding, they look like energy knives or kind of energy blades coming out of his wrists. These actually remind me a lot of if you have ever played Halo Reach multiplayer, the little energy swords that come out of the elite's wrists when they do assassinations. That's what these remind me of. Over here we have the same Dread Knight, or a different Dread Knight, but still a Dread Knight. But this one is totally biological, so there's zero augmentation of this guy here. So it's a cool contrast between the more mechanical and the organic types. Over here we have two different variations. These two both have horns. However, this one seems a little bit bonier in the terms of like he has more plating on him that looks like bones, like his shoulders have these kind of shoulder pads on them, which is so cool. Next up, we have the Tyrant, and just by looking at him, I see that name is well deserved. So the Tyrant. Demon lords of the black soul pits of Babel. The tyrants have long served as wardens and slavers of the infernal pits. Weaponized and cybernetically altered by the UAC, the tyrants are tasked with overseeing the collection and extraction of sin-branded human souls from the mortal world. They impose rules as ordained by the unholy sigil of the elder demon gods, sadistic masters of lesser demons. The tyrants are feared for their cruelty and malice. So these guys are essentially like the lords, like the feudal lords of hell. Really cool design. I really like, again, the mixture of biological and cybernetics. Someone at the UAC needs to be fired right now because they need to stop cybernetically enhancing literal hellspawn. This picture is really cool. You see some of his, the red wiring here, in his stomach reminds me, or kind of looks like, his guts are hanging out, like as if he's lost his chest and his guts have been exposed, but it's just red wiring. And then we have more concept art of him over here. If you guys have ever played Destiny or Destiny 2, you are probably familiar with an enemy type and faction called Siva. And this guy looks very similar to how Siva looks, with the kind of cybernetically enhanced abilities, but with all of these red wires going all over the place. So that was the first thing I thought about him, was that he looks like someone that has been taken over by Siva from Destiny. But definitely really cool. And also it appears that he is actually blind, as he does not have any eyes. Oh no, I'm sorry, he does have eyes. They are just on the sides of his head next to his horns there and there. but they are just very, very small. So he fooled me, I'll give him that. He's a tyrant for a reason. He's able to fool a peasant like myself. Next up is the Hell Priest. So, the Hell Priest. With the fall of Exaltia, the Sentinel theocracy began to change. It had long served as the moral foundation for Sentinel society, but its demise caused a chain reaction throughout the world, the priesthood falling under the insidious and gradual persuasion of Hell's influence. In time abandoned the holy text and disavowed its founding doctrine. An era of corruption followed, destroying the church from within. So yeah, that would suck, but as much as that sucks, their design absolutely does not suck. They look so cool. They have these kind of helmets on that covers most of the face from the mouth up, with this like half crest on top of the helmets, and they all look different. This one here looks very similar to like a traditional monk. This guy has some kind of almost like a crown on it with horns. Really cool. The Hell Priests are one of the enemy types that are based, that a lot of our missions in Doom Eternal at the start of the game are based around, is finding these guys and killing them. And here is some different concept art of all of them in different stages. I do like, what I like about the Hell Priests especially in the art shown here, is that they are all noticeably different from each other in physical appearance, in clothing, and all that. Because I always hate when like there's a really important enemy type and they all look identical, whereas these guys, you feel like you're killing an individual Hell Priest rather than just a clone of the same 2 or 3 guys. So, Hell Royalty. The immortal archdemons, claiming domain over the innermost circles of hell, rule as lieutenants of the Dark Lord, from their forsaken Death Lords to the formless sloths of torment. All of hell's minions submit to their behest. Most reviled of them all is Erebus, keeper of the spire cities of D, risen from the ruins of Babel. As slave master of the damned, he ruled over the cursed souls of hell, who are sentenced to labor without end through their power is near absolute. Though their power is near absolute. The archdemons answer without question to the Nameless One, infernal master and lord of hell, whose dominion is formless and ultimate. Very scary and very kind of Lovecraftian and unknowable. So he looks like a very large, fat demon here. Doesn't seem very muscular compared to all of the other demons we have seen. But since he is royalty, it makes sense that, he wouldn't be a warrior or have, a warrior's physique. Here are some more different pictures of them. These two are interesting based on, I'm assuming these are 2 different types of the same ones. The one on the left is very gaunt and frail, whereas the one on the right is very stout and is sitting down and it looks extremely sturdy. Really cool. I also like this design here of this guy with all of his implants and all that. Next up is the Icon of Sin. So this guy, just before we get into actually reading it, this guy looks really cool. So he looks like an appearance of a kind of like a goat creature, but apart from his main 2 hands, he also has these like little smaller hands here, which are claws, which I think is a super cool idea. So like he can kind of pull you in with his long hands and then hold you close while he eats you with the small hands. That's really cool. So, Icon of Sin. As it is written in the prophecies of ancient Sentinel scripture, the Titan, Towering elder demons of the infernal age would eventually return, unearthed from their immortal slumber. The Titans are believed to be the harbingers of the end of times, primordial forces of chaos and destruction. Born from the hearts of the betrayer's son, the icon of sin was given flesh by hell's unholy design. This fearsome titan, forged from the essence of mortal suffering, once bore a human soul, a soul now transformed and entombed within the still beating heart of its once former self. The betrayer, seeking to free his son from eternal torment within the depths of hell, made an agreement, a pact sealed by the black fates of darkness, that promised to grant his son a chance to return from death. The son would live again, but not as human. In hell's endless cruelty, the son was damned to become the icon, an inhumane existence bound only to its former humanity by the now disembodied, undying mortal heart. So yeah, this guy is actually has a pretty sad backstory for, hellspawn abomination. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And this looks like him here. I'm not sure if this is him, but if it is him, he is absolutely massive compared to even some of the other demons that we have seen so far. So this looks like we have a icon of sin here. This guy has a more like a grayish blue skin tone and has chains around his left leg and both of his arms and his wrists. So this guy was obviously chained up somewhere. And here, I believe this enemy of this enemy type is called a Maker. They are essentially the angels of doom, or at least the soldiers of the divine, as opposed to the soldiers of the damned. Don't be fooled though. They are not good people, or they do not serve good by any stretch of the imagination. They are just as cruel, if not more so, than the demons themselves. Okay, so the Makers. There's quite a lot to say about these guys. So, Makers. When the Makers first revealed themselves to the Argenta, it was thought to be an act of divine intervention. Descending from the heavens, this mysterious race of beings brought with them the offer of eternal peace, bearing gifts of technology, which would transform the sentinel world and bring it towards a new age of technological prosperity. The Makers, while possessing nearly godlike abilities, are themselves neither immortal nor omnipotent. In pursuit of greater power, it was by discovery of Argent energy that made the Makers became capable of prolonging their lifespan. With the use of Argent, the Makers are able to delay the natural aging cycle that over time threatens to transform and degrade their organic bodies. At the time of death, a Maker will go through a ritual known as the Unification, where its body is left behind and the soul is merged in with the collective consciousness contained within their homeworld of Urdak. The shared consciousness of the Makers, a neural network matrix to which every Maker is connected, has since its inception been dependent on the life force of their father, the progenitor of the Maker race. So this is some art of them here. As you can see, they are much more ethereal looking than the other enemies we have seen. These are not from hell, so obviously they don't look like demons. However, they still look rather intimidating. And here is a bunch of different concept arts with a bunch of different styles. These ones over here look very, or the most, I would say, angelic out of them, mainly just due to their robes and their halo. However, they do have some really cool concept arts. This guy here looks like he's wearing some kind of like advanced tech suit. This guy has some horns or a massive headpiece with a glowing light in the middle. This guy seems to be like, or it looks like he's sprouting from a cocoon. I know that's not the case, but that's just how he looks to me. And then this guy over here almost looks like a picture of a saint that you would find in his posture and his hood and his face and this little head decoration here. These head decorations that these guys have, I don't know if you play Warhammer 40k, but they are very similar to some of the symbols that the Adeptus Sororitas use, which I just think is very interesting since both of them are tied to religion. Here's some more concept art and art of the makers. They all look very different. So we have this one, which is like a floating mass of tentacles with a face. This one, who is semi-humanoid in the fact that he has arms and legs. However, but that's where the similarities end. His head has these two protrusions on either side, and these massive kind of claw spear things coming out of his back. These look very reminiscent of the slasher type enemies to Dead Space. I believe that's the second time I've compared something to Dead Space in this book so far. This guy here appears to be holding what looks to be some kind of device. And then this guy over here, maybe he's like a warrior caste or something, because one of his arms looks like there is a weapon that has been grafted onto his arm. Over here is another version of a maker. I'm guessing just based on appearance that this guy is one of the higher-ups or the more elite versions of the maker, based on how he looks. Looks very or very reminiscent of biblically accurate angels. I'm sure you guys are familiar with those, but with all of the kind of wing style things coming out of his back, all of which have these massive eyes on them, including his shoulders. So yeah, very, very cool. Next up is the can maker. So I think this guy might be a can maker, but we shall see. Can maker. Every 10,000 years, the collective maker consciousness, known as the Singularity, births a Khan maker, a supreme being bound by destiny to lead all of Urdak until the next Khan is born. The Singularity, which contains the consciousness, or the conscious soul data of every maker that has ever lived and died, processed and refined this data as means of selective evolution. As the Khan is hierarch of the consciousness of the neural matrix, in which each maker is interconnected. It's physically impossible for a maker to refuse the collective order of shared consciousness and disobey a Khan. This system has functioned without error since the creation of Urdak until now. With the disappearance of their father, the maker are incapable of creating a successor to the Khan lineage, allowing the existing Khan to hold her claim to the throne indefinitely. That's cool. So the Khan is a female. I didn't know that these guys actually had genders, but that's cool that the Khan is a woman. So over here we have pictures of the Khan. So I was incorrect. This is not a Khan. This is just a normal maker. This is a Khan, and this is the most angelic looking one of them all. She has these massive wings, like each wing is like double the size of her body, and she has, I'm assuming, 2 legs here, 2 arms, kind of semi-humanoid, but then the face is very alien, and she has this kind of red orb thing in the middle of her forehead. Really cool design. I really like how in Doom, and especially with the DLC, they have the quote-unquote angels be as disturbing, if not more so, as the hell demons. Because a lot of the time in these kind of games, you know, the demons are ugly and horrific and brutal in their actions, whereas the angels are beautiful and kind and all that stuff. Whereas these guys are essentially just an opposing faction that just happen to resemble humans' idea of an angel. Next up is probably my favorite enemy in Doom Eternal, and I'm sure this goes for a lot of people, the Marauder. So, Marauder. A civil war consumed Argent D'Nur. The warrior clans of the Sentinel army fell into disarray. The most disillusioned forswore their oath to the Sentinel loyalty, abandoning their pact of allegiance to the throne. These hardened warriors joined the separatist group led by the exalted priest class, allying themselves with the Makers and the devout acolytes in an attempted coup against the Sentinel royal house. These Sentinel warriors who fell in battle having sided with the Makers were ultimately denied finality in death, resurrected by the unholy fusion of Hell Maker technology. These fallen Sentinels were returned from the dead, transformed by Hell's power, and recreated with a singular purpose: to hunt the Slayer as reborn Marauder Knights in the Hell's army. So this is some artwork of the Marauder here. He is an enemy that is introduced in Doom Eternal, and he is a fan favorite, and for good reason. He is an extremely challenging enemy who shows up in the battlefield, and he has a companion dog with him and everything, but a very tough fight, especially on Nightmare. I have my own little headcanon about him, is that we fight him throughout the game because he is an enemy type. However, my headcanon is that due to the him not being allowed death and being resurrected by the unholy fusion, that the Marauder that we fight all throughout Doom Eternal is actually the same guy the entire time. That's not confirmed anywhere. There's no lore hints to that. No one's confirmed this. That is just my personal opinion, and I think it would be cool how this guy is so dedicated to hunting down the Slayer that every time he dies, or quote-unquote dies, he just keeps coming back. So these are some various artworks of them. This one here actually looks very similar to the Slayer. Actually, this might be the Slayer. It looks like him anyway. Whereas this is more concept art of the Marauder. We can see this one has one horn much bigger than the other horn. This one has a massive spiked shoulder piece with a kind of wrist mounted. This looks very similar to the energy sword from Halo. And then we have this guy here who is almost like a combination between both of these guys. So yeah, the Marauder is my favorite enemy type in all of the Doom games. And by all of the Doom games, I mean 2016 and Eternal. I have not played any of the older ones. I was born a little bit too late to play those, unfortunately. And here we have some more pictures of the Marauder. So we see in here and in the game, the Marauder is famous for his axe. However, here we see that he has, or in this concept art, here he has the same axe, but he also has one of the massive swords. This sword here is the same sword that the Doomslayer uses, whereas this sword is its own thing. Very demonic looking, especially with these massive spikes sticking out from the underside of the blade. Again, this is all concept arts of the Marauder. It would be cool though if the Marauder did pop up with this weapon every once in a while. And then here is another close-up picture of a really detailed version of the Marauder. One thing, since this is the end of this section, I just wanted to say this before we continue, is it does not have any concept art of the Marauder's dog that he uses in the fight, which I find to be a shame, because I think that would have been really cool to include, since the dog is a essential part of the Marauder's arsenal. So, yeah, it's not included, but it's not the end of the world. Moving on, and next is Chapter 3, Cursed Worlds. However, that is going to be it for this video. So thank you so much for watching. As always, I really appreciate your viewership. I also just want to quickly give a shout out to my 2 new Patreon members. So thank you Slice of Life for Life, and thank you Mary the Otaku. Your support on Patreon means the world to me, and I cannot express my gratitude enough for you guys supporting the channel. So if you are listening to this video while trying to relax or go to sleep, this is the end of the video. So I would turn it off now so that the ad at the end does not disturb you if there is an ad. If you are interested in becoming a patron member, the link is in the description. However, it is absolutely not necessary, and please do not give me money. Only sign up if you absolutely really want to, but please do not give me any money. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you again for watching, and this has been Crimson, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.